Run the damn ball. That has been the mantra of Husker fans for a while. And last year, we finally got some consistency running the ball, albeit passing game wasn't there. It didn't help the running backs much, but the quarterbacks did have some legs and they did help the running game a little bit. So we're going to break down this room, and going into 2024, we're going to see what it looks like. And there's a ton of reasons for optimism into this coming year. And these guys earned valuable reps last year. So we're going to get into that a little bit. First things first, my name is Justin Adams. I'm a content creator here at Nebraska Football, the voice of college football. And if you like what we do here, if you like what I do here, please consider liking and subscribing. Again, it really helps me out. Hate to ask for this stuff, but YouTube kind of forces my hand. So, and everybody for the support, appreciate it. Thank you to everybody who's shown love. So we'll get into it here a little bit. So last year, like I said, 39th in college football in running yards per game. And, Harburg was the leading rusher, though. 483 of those yards came from Harburg. So no really bell cow guy, but that was to be expected. Grant had ball security issues earlier on the season, and then injuries kind of forced the hand of Matt Rule to switch to some of these younger guys and throw them into the fire, like your EMT Johnsons of the world. So it was one of those things where it was still fairly consistent, albeit under tough circumstances, but did show flaws later in the season as the attrition, battle of attrition wore on against tougher defenses. 26 carries for 90 yards, not including Chubba Purdy against Wisconsin. And then the running backs against Iowa, 33 yards on 18 carries, 1.8 yards per carry. Okay, so that's something that is going to come with the depth and hopefully the health. Now, we do have a couple of guys who are injured, but we'll get into that. The rotation at times didn't make sense, so it'll be curious to see how he rotates these guys going forward. But I'm going to give a little details on each one of them and what I like and what I think Matt Rule will use them for and what we can see from them going forward. So let's go ahead and just start. We'll start with the redshirt freshman, the guy that we haven't seen much of, Quintin Ives. Not going to spend too much time on Quintin Ives, but Quintin Ives from Beverly, New Jersey, 6'3", 180 pounds. He was a top 40 pack in his class, according to On3. Was a dual sport athlete, standout track and field guy, and also played basketball. Averaged 15 points per game, 8 rebounds per game. And so another Matt Rule dual sport athlete, somebody he likes. He likes the Jersey kids. There's another New Jersey back on here. He likes the toughness of the New Jersey kids. We did see him in very limited action as a kick returner. I believe he had a 20-something yarder against Wisconsin. He was a full-time kick returner against Iowa, but they were all touchbacks, so we didn't get to see much of him. He will be a dynamic change of pace back. He's going to be exciting. He's going to be fun to watch. It's just going to be about getting him the ball, get him in space, and he can line up all over the field. So excited to see what Quintin Ives breaks out this coming year and see what kind of action he gets in his redshirt freshman year. All right, let's go ahead and move over to the newcomer here, Mr. Dante Dao. So Dante Dao was a late replacement for Kawan Lacey. Kawan Lacey was originally in this 2024 class, but pivoted last second and decided to sign with Missouri. And Kawan Lacey, he was going to be big time for us. All purpose, hard-nosed runner, can really do it all. His film's crazy. He was a track star, but we get a guy like Dowdo who arguably in the 2023 class was ranked higher than him. And did pretty well at Oregon in his limited action. But the key was just getting somebody to replace him in this class because there is no other running backs in this recruiting class. So, Matt Rule worked his magic, was able to land a really solid guy, 6'2", 215 pounds, 9th ranked running back in the 2023 class, averaged over 5 yards per carry in, again, limited action, but another track guy. He ran the 200-meter, did a long jump. So he's a very, very explosive athlete. And his high school stats just jump off the page. 2,165 yards in a senior season, 31 touchdowns, which I believe is like the same amount that Dylan Raiola threw in his senior year, 8.4 yards per carry. Throughout his high school career, 5,300 yards, 65 touchdowns on 8 yards per carry at Class 5A. And this is on a team that went to the state championship. So 100-plus yards in 13 of his 15 games in high school. He went over 200 yards 5 times. He is a pure running back in every sense of the word. He gets downhill quickly. He can cut if he needs to. great vision, but he is a hard-nosed runner, and he is the exact type of downhill runner that Satterfield and Rule want to run this offense with. They are a very downhill type of running scheme. Get big, get your tight ends in there, and let's get the ball downhill. There's not a lot of horizontal movement, and you'll see a lot of these guys, even the scat backs, they know how to get upfield quick. And so Dante Dao is going to be able to come in here and be a workhorse if need be. This is one of the things that is a little bit exciting because of the fact that two of our guys are injured coming into, or fall camp, going into spring camp. They'll be dealing with this stuff. So having a guy who may be able to come in and take 20 plus yards per carry and kind of lighten the load a little bit is going to be key. We didn't really have a guy who could do that last year, which put the strain on our running backs. And we don't want our quarterbacks running the ball like we did last year. You can tell by the way, they recruited Raiola, definitely not a run first guy. He's a pass guy. And, they're going to mix guys in the backfield. Tight ends, he mentioned Carter Nelson's going to mix back there, but he's also going to throw these running backs out wide. You're going to see like your Quintin Ives of the world probably line up wide. Ramir Johnson may do the same thing. So very, very excited about Dante Dao, as I'm sure the rest of y'all are. Sophomore. So the future is very bright for Dowdle. Expect a big year from him. Emmett Johnson, sophomore. Emmett Johnson was one of the guys that I was really excited about coming into last year. A lot of people didn't realize this, but Emmett Johnson actually was splitting half of his reps with the first team in fall camp. And, he was coming up fourth on the depth chart behind Grant, Anthony Grant, Gabe Irvin, and Ramir Johnson. But a lot of people didn't know the talent that was there and that he was getting those first team reps, which is why when you saw him jump into action, he immediately took the bull by the horns and was very, very impressive. I like to call him at Johnson the one cut kid. He is a powerful runner, and when he runs hard, and his leg drive is crazy, and you'll see a lot of one cuts, and I'm talking about powerful one cuts. When he plants in the open field, good luck getting him. It's all over his tape. Most of his missed tackles are just him planting a foot, changing direction. Very, very explosive, very, very good at the hips, and that's what leads him to be able to be dynamic as he is. 5'11", 190 pounds. So, pretty good size. He's probably going to bulk up more. But last year, 413 yards, 4.6 per carry, which was first on the team in terms of running back, second behind Heinrich Haarberg. The other thing that you like to see from Emmett Johnson, and especially with Nebraska, the way the offense was last year with turnovers, when he carries the ball, he secures it. 3 points of contact, just like you're supposed to. 3 points of contact means you're supposed to have your hand over the ball, right at the top. You're going to have the ball tucked into your elbow right here, and then you're going to be holding that against your body. That's what we call 3 points of contact, okay? Now, what you'll notice is he always keeps that ball locked tight to his body, and then when there are multiple defenders and or he's in contact where he knows he can't cut and get out of, or he's going to have to lower his head, he's always putting two hands on that ball. And I know that's a minor thing to, point out sometimes, but in this instance, that stuff is key because that is something all of our running backs are going to need to take note of and learn from. And you saw it last year because Emmett Johnson only had one fumble. And Anthony Grant, for what it's worth, as the season went along, he got better. He had 3 fumbles total in the course of the season, lost 2 of them. Emmett Johnson had 1. So really excited about him. The ball security is the biggest thing. I think Emmett Johnson is going to be on the field a lot in this coming season, and I'm really excited about him as I was last year. So, all right, let's move to Mr. Gabe Irvin. Unfortunately, Gabe Irvin, as we know, injured. Gabe Irvin comes from Buford, Georgia, same high school as Dylan Raiola, and 6 foot 215. Another big-bodied back. In 2021, injured after 4 games. 2022 played 8 games, 94 yards and 20 carries. He had 60 yards against Oklahoma in that game. And in 2023, he played 3 games and then went down and was on pace to be very, very good last year. 38 carries, 196 yards on 4.8 average and 1 touchdown. And listening to Gabe Irvin in a couple of interviews last year, And something about Gabe Irvin's mentality that I really love, and somebody who's battled through injuries. And I know what it's like to battle through injuries. I've ruptured my right bicep twice, a year apart, and I got nerve damage, couldn't move my hand after the second surgery, had to have a third surgery. This was 21 and 22. And it's hard sometimes to keep that mentality of like, okay, like I'm going to keep going after this, because the rehab process, when you have to do it over and over and you setback after setback, it really messes with you mentally. But even last year, he was like, I want to be the guy. He wants to be the guy. But he's like, rule's going to rotate us. Okay. And he says, quote unquote, we all got it, meaning the entirety of the running back room that was going into last season. And what he means when he says that is he implies that he wants everybody, he knows that he can be the guy, but he wants everybody else to have an opportunity to be the guy too. He said, we are all capable of doing the same thing. We all want to eat, essentially. And so Gabe Irvin is very much an unselfish type of player, and he is going to be a leader in this running back room. And that is the biggest thing that's going to come from Gabe Irvin. We know what he's going to give us on the field if he can stay healthy, but his leadership and listening to him talk, I think is going to be the biggest thing going into the season to mentor these young guys, because we are very young. No seniors, redshirt freshman, sophomore, junior, and then a redshirt junior. So very, very key to have Gabe Irvin in there as a locker room. Marcus Washington was very similar to the wide receiver room last year, but it helps to have that guy on the field. Marcus Washington was a leader for the wide receiver room, got hurt early. Gabe Irvin's going to be that same guy for the running back room this year, but hopefully he can stay on the field. Really, really excited when Gabe Irvin is out there. He's really good when he's out there. Dude is an absolute unit. So let's move on to our final running back, our fifth and final running back here. And it's going to be Ramir Johnson. Me and Chancellor had a video. Chancellor Brewington had a video. He said they call him Ramir Dollars, but Ramir Johnson, another New Jersey kid, right? Went to the same high school as Jaden Gold, who transferred out this past offseason. Redshirt junior, 5'10", 170 pounds. Again, he's going to be coming in banged up as well. Him and Grant both went down around the same time. He'll never be a workhorse, but that's just not his game. He's a versatile scat back. He can line up all over the field, and he's got crazy speed. He can cut quickly. We have a power cutter in Quintin Ives. Or I'm sorry, Dante Dao. But then we have a quick cutter in Ramir Johnson. And what that means is when one of them plants, that he's exploding out of that break. When the other one plants, you better figure out where he's going quick. And he's going to hit you with a spin. He's going to hit you with something in the open field. Very, very tough. However, again, hard-nosed runner. For 5'10", 180, the dude he gets vertical. And that's something you don't see from a lot of these guys is their ability to get vertical. And again, I mentioned this earlier, Matt Rule doesn't like the dancing around the line of scrimmage, behind the line of scrimmage. We saw that a lot last year as the attrition battled on. These guys were less and less willing to take on contact just because they were getting used so much, Heinrich Harburg being one of them. And just that little hesitation is the difference between 5 yards and no yards or a loss. Being able to just see the hole, hit the hole, and get upfield instead of dancing around too much in the backfield. And that's what Ramir Johnson does. And one of the reasons I don't typically like some of these scat backs is because they do dance around a little too much, and but Ramir has the ability to get upfield quick, and he has the ability to run. He can run inside if he needs to. He gets low. He can attack the hole. He's got great vision and waits for his blocks to set up. So excellent in the open field. Just one of those really, really exciting guys that is going to be able to be a game breaker when he's healthy. And hopefully we can see him fully healthy this year. 12 carries for 65 yards, where most of them were coming against Colorado, where he had 5.4 for carry and 112, 495 yards and 197 receiving yards in his best season to date in 2022. So, he can do it all. Again, this running back room has a lot of different pieces You have each person that can do a little something different. Quintin Ives is going to be that guy who can be out there as a kick returner. He's explosive. Dante Dao is going to be that 3-down bell cow every down type of back. He may not take on that workload, but if he needs to, he can. Emmett Johnson, again, one of my favorite running backs on this team. The one-cut kid, he's gonna go absolutely crazy this year. His development over the course of the season was fantastic, and I can't wait to see him with a running back room around him to complement his skill set. Gabe Irvin, big body guy. He's going to be kind of a Dante Dao type of guy. Just need him to be healthy, leader in the locker room. And then Ramir Johnson, you just want to see Ramir out there. He's been at Nebraska a while. He's dealt with the injuries, and I want to see Ramir be able to get out there and prove himself and show what his skill set has to offer. So we got flashes of it before, and I'm excited to see what this team breaks out in 2024. And I know all of you are too. So hopefully with the new and improved passing game, some offensive line changes, and some, off-season development, this running back room can be another strength for this team in 2024. All right. Well, again, that was the running back preview. We are going to go through each and every room, both offensive and defensive, and then I'm going to rank every single room in order of strongest to weakest. And we'll keep going through that, of course, this offseason. So if y'all want to be in tune on that, just like and subscribe here, and follow every video and keep up to date with the content. We'll keep everything rolling in here as news comes, and keep the content fun and entertaining for y'all. So I appreciate everybody for stopping in. I can't talk here at the end for some reason, but I appreciate y'all for stopping in, and I will see you on the next video. Peace.